Well, I spent all me gin, spent all me tin with the women drinking gin. And as far across the ocean I must wander. Well, it's 20 to 3, quarter to 3, Swedish time. Played a gig in Kalmar. Haven't been here before. Hard fucking bunch of people to get the crack out of, but I managed to get a bit of crack out of it. I was sweating like a beast up there trying to fucking get the tunes going, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and here I am in this room, a horse of a man up there. I fucking made my own bed, had to get sheets myself. Oh ho ho. Made myself nice and cozy, you see, because I'm used to like being a grown arse man. Just fucking out there making beds. CG3, CGH93. Morton, quick fire question. How has the family life changed you as a man? Good question. Family life changed me as a man because I realised that the children that I have reared are extremely valuable to me in terms of experience and taught me to put other people before myself in a very literal way. I think it's the best thing I ever did was to become a parent, CGH93, and I recommend it to everybody. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's very fulfilling. Juvalita, how are you doing? Where were you gigging? I was gigging in Kalmar in the south of Sweden. CGH CGH93. I'm after pints, by the way. So am I, but I was sweating so much on the stage that I just fucking sweated the beer out. Patrick Clark, yo yo, what are you dressing up as for Halloween this year? Nothing really. I'm wearing a lederhosen. I don't really. I dressed up as the unknown Phantom that was in a video from a year ago, and no one really cared that I did. I don't know what's going on here, but let's look at what's going on in Kalmar. Let's have a little look out the window. I hear loads of stuff. What's going on? Look at that tower, man. Fucking size of that tower. That was built by human beings. It's like fucking Saruman's towers after you. Yeah, Saruman. What's Gandalf doing up there at the top? Call the Mothman. Call the Mothman. The Moth. Get the eagles down after you. Fucking Glenn Fry and the boys. What's going out there? I'll open the window and ask. What's going on out there? Look, Shady Burgers. Shady Ganley job. Look, it's literally called Shady Burgers. I have to get myself some fucking Shady Burgers. Shh, nice and quiet now, nice and quiet. Shh. Ah, ah, ah. You look nice and cozy there, Liz.
I am.
You sleeping well? Did you drink some water before you went to bed?
No, I should do.
Yeah, get some water into you, mate. You'll be glad you did. Remember the old ethos. Stay well hydrated.
No,
Good night, sweet prince.
no.
Oh. So the kitchen's nice. Is there any food? Because I'm fucking starving. Starved out of it, man. The gaff is nice. I like what they did with the place. Oh. Can't see the comments. So what's going on in the comment section here? Top chat. Okay, here we go. The Tower to Barad-dûr. Patrick Clark says, do people even dress up as Eddie Durkin for Halloween? Yeah, they used to back in the day, man. It was, I remember in 2009, it was us and the Chilean Miners. I shit you not. I didn't even, I did the gig, had about 4 or 5 pints, and haven't had a piss all night because I probably sweated out on stage while trying to entertain the fucking cyborgs. I have to do that again tomorrow night, then drive back to fucking Stockholm. Take the kids again Sunday. And I'm going to see the Libertines on Melody Pugh. How are you doing? I'm going to see the Libertines on Monday night. That'll be a bit of crack. How are you, Melody? Corey Savage just walked in the door. Out in Cork for the jazz. Not for me. Was it kind of bebop scat jazz, or was it like kind of funky jazz? I don't know what. I'm not really a jazz enthusiast myself, to be honest with you. I'm sure it's really good if you get into it. It's like people who would just dedicate their life to playing blues, and I think it's very skillful. It takes a lot of musical aptitude and passion and dedication, but it's a bit fucking boring sometimes, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure it's great fun to play. See the comments. Add me in, man. Johnny, mate. I'm just doing this off the phone, and I don't. I didn't even. I fucking forgot my toothbrush. Forgot my charger. Forgot the towels. There's one manky towel hanging up. Lovely place though. It's very, very clean. I didn't really know what I was expecting, to be honest with you, being here. NCTRNI buckets full of paste at salmon stag. Oh, what else we got? Paul Casey, Martin man, what's the crack? Haven't seen you streaming in the longest of time. Hit that fucking notification bell, man. Quinn Hennessy, yo, Patrick Clark, all the boys. So I think I'm got to go to Ronnie Scott's. What's Ronnie Scott's, man? Where is it? Is that in Calmore? But yeah, so we took a spin. What do you think about the crack with it's pronounced nocturnal? Ah, right, yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't see that properly. What do you think of Elon Musk? Is he a good lad? Is he one of the fucking establishment? Jazz bar, okay. Jazzy bars, man. The Quad and the boys. They were in Cork. It's been a long time since I was down in Cork. It was about 4 years ago now at this stage, and we were frequent visitors to the city of Cork back in the day when we were doing the gigs and that. Long time ago now, man. City limits, the Old Oak, Cypress Avenue, fucking Owen, the promoter. Sound man into the wrestling in a big way. I see Paddy or Sheamus the wrestler got married in real life. Fair play to him. Did I hear an English accent there? Says Paddy Fashed. Well, I've a bit of a hybrid accent between the two. Juvelita says, much is a totalitarian Guinness? What the hell do you mean? Shawnee, and how you doing? The Irishest rocker in all of Sweden. Yeah, it's fucking. It was, it was a packed bar, and I played like 3.5 hours of fucking tunes, and I was like, I felt like Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon 3. Getting too old for this shit. Do you know what I mean? If I was doing it back in Ireland, it'd be fucking mad crack. But the pub, the pub was like an Irish themed pub. I think it used to be owned by Irish lads, but now it's owned by other lads. There wasn't an awful lot of fucking banter out of the boys at the end of it. Chris J, Mad Crack. I was expecting Mad Crack. It was fairly tame. I mean, myself and the Lizard Man are back in Bobo's now. He's asleep. I was thinking about taking us on a little wander around Calmar, but then fucking look boring enough, man. It's just like a square. I was thinking about getting a bite to eat. And there was an old hot dog stand. Might take an old wander up to the hot dog stand. That's about it, really. It's a nice town. Sukala Mink saw Tom O'Mahony tonight in G Town. He's some stand up. I Soundskin. I was thinking like I could have played fucking Galway this weekend, but I took this gig back in July because I was like, yeah, man, I'll do that. It's ages away, and like all things in life, it eventually arrives, and it's like, fuck, oh my god, we're back again. But yeah, first time down here. Nice town, like a coastal town. I heard a lot about Kalmar before I came here because when I lived out in Greece, I met people who were from Kalmar, and I heard about it a lot. Never came down here. For a man who's been living in Sweden for as long as I have, there's a lot of Sweden I haven't really seen yet. It's a deceptively big country. I'd say it'd probably take about 24 hours to get from the south to the north, if I'm not mistaken. You go to the UK much. I don't actually, but I was thinking about if I can wangle this for December, maybe try and do a gig in London in December, and if not, maybe leave the next year. I've got to get back on the horse with the gigs. Got to get back on the fucking horse, boys. As in England, yeah, like in England, you go there and people come out to see you. Same if you were in Australia or somewhere. Sucklemink, you seem a bit sober for man after the gig. Well, I was playing so much; it was kind of hard to get the pints into me. But I'd say I had about six beers over the course of maybe 5 beers over the course of 4.5 hours. But I tell you this, I had a good feed before going up, so the belly was lined. Unfortunately, Danny next door had to try and find a parking space, and then by the time he got there, the kitchen had closed. So you know what they say, an empty bag won't stand. He might have some recordings of it. I was actually gonna try and do a live stream, but I've been a bit lazy. Getting the music up on the screen. I'll try and see if it's my type of comedy or music. Yeah, I mean it's a varied cover of old classics and that kind of thing, and you have to like every now and again when you're trying to get the crowds. I mean, like you're basically just a fucking jukebox at the end of the day. I like playing live music and it's crack, but you're playing other people's tunes at the end of the day. But it's good just to kind of keep the live appearances sharp and just stagecraft and going in there completely fucking sober after a 5 hour car journey. It's not for the faint hearted, like, but fucking someone's got to do it. And when it came up, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll see another part of the country. Get that live stream going. We'll be down to watch that. It says Nocturnal. Yeah, we'll see. I'll see what the crack is with Liz. He might be able to help a man out. And if I can get the chords up on his phone, fucking we'll bash out a few tunes, man. If I know the boys are watching, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, fucking tell you a fucking couple of tunes, all right. There's a bit of crack if you go onto Dana White's Instagram page. Owen Colgan has just been having some very some beef with Dana White about his Oculus Rift headset. So I was like, when I see fucking boys kicking off on Young Gorney and Colgan, I'm like, fucking, the main man will have to put a bit of weight behind that, like. See what your comments say. Sure, that's nothing. Big lad like yourself. That's fucking right, Suka. Ad blogger Eddie just moved to South Carolina, lad. Thanks for checking in and streaming tonight. You're scooping. A couple of scoops for taking, ad blogger. A couple of the finest scoops. What will the future hold with Elon Musk at Twitter? I hope he fucking lets Trump back because he was like the best bit, especially when he's just late night texting. Melody Pugh, I shall sign out and go back to my gurus and old souls then. Are you signing out, yeah? What are you at for the evening? Ariok Irsi, remember your mates in the third dimension. Remember the lads in the third dimension? Yeah. It's funny because Dana White's new headset is basically like what was going on in the last series of Hardy books with the Shira. Yeah, fucking hell, man. The virtual pub. Now Dana White's do it. I mean, right, so you got this Oculus fucking Rift or whatever the fuck you call it. Or these meta headsets. And you're just in a living room throwing punches at. It's just a bit fucking daft, man. Just, hit a punch bag and go for a bit of a run. Do some kettlebell. You'd be fucking sound. Stephen Grant, Perth, Australia, in the house. What time is it there? What time are we on? I'd say it's about 10 in the morning, is it? Cancerous attitude. How are you doing? Let's see. Ariok Irsi says, remember your mates? I've seen it already. Ad block at Musk and Trump, lad. It's happening. I can't wait, man. I just like, the thing is with Twitter, they've had a monopoly over information. And there's fucking dickheads like Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And this woman called John Cooper, Robert Reich, and there's another one, Rob Reiner, who was the director of Spinal Tap, and how his takes could be so fucking shit. Like as a casual or like not a casual observer, but for some reason I follow the politics and culture in America because whatever happens in America usually follows in the rest of the world. And meathead, says Sean, but like man, they're like the proof is in the fucking pudding, right? And you can have everybody, who are fucking hardline Democrats. They don't work. It's like Labour in England, man. They're no longer looking out for the working class people. Rob Reiner's nickname in Archie Bunker, Meathead. You know what? How can someone make something like Spinal Tap, which is one of the fucking funniest documentaries of all time, or spoof documentaries, and have such fucking shit takes, man? He's obviously he must be getting paid by the DNC PAC, Political Action Committee. Um, so you have like the likes of Brooklyn Dad, and they're all activated now because they're the midterm elections are coming up. How are you, Missy? Any crack with you? Our blocker says, I've been here for 5 years now, lad, and it's toxic. Where's that in the States? Yeah, I mean, you've got people like fucking George Soros and the boys, or, fucking strange cunts with ulterior motives and plenty of money who are so far removed from what it's like to be an ordinary human being at this stage. Like, and I've said it loads of times about Billy Gates of Hell, and, I didn't want to go down this path again, but they're not like us, man. I mean, could you imagine being so wealthy that you can't even take joy in doing things that when money is no object? It's like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna buy like a Lamborghini Hurricane and take it to a test track, and that's the kind of shit I do. But like, they've been born into insane amounts of money that they've done all that, and now it's like they just want to turn the entire globe into a shit muncher's pen, and they're the VIP, and it's like a two-tiered system where it's basically they've got all the money they need, and where do you go from there? You just have to take away what pleasures we have left in our ordinary lives. So Johnny Sideways, how are you fucking the Tala, man? It's lit tonight in Malloy's and Tala. Plenty of fucking women dressed up in sleazy Halloween here, Johnny. I hear you, brother. Swing for the fences, 777. The United States is the greatest place in the world. Anyone can be anything, and money literally grows on trees. You just have to grab it. It's like Paddy and fucking Joe, the boys from Tuam. They went over to London there back in the 70s. One of the boys seen a £20 note on the floor and he said, "Hey, leave it, man. We start work tomorrow." And that was the fucking crack. Charles Moran, how you doing? Those boys wouldn't even be happy with a V8 engine and a pack of amber. I mean, what more can you ask for, man? A bottle of fucking Galahad from Lidl, hey. Fucking top boys don't stop. Shawnee and Stephen King, the man who looks like he got stuck midway of a gender reassignment program. Yeah, Stephen King's another fucking oddball, man. Do you know what I mean? This whole Hollywood class, they're mad pricks. Talks amongst yourselves. I'm gonna go for a quick slash. I don't think it'd be appropriate to bring you all in with me. Hold on, I'll leave it there for a sec. I'm back. Oh, fucking, I had a toothbrush and I left it in the bag in the pub. So now I've got no toothbrush, no towel. Fucking first world problem if ever there was. Chris J, breaking the seal is always a doozy. Yeah, I mean, I went for a couple of hours there without having to go, and I guess the seal is now broken. Ever heard of a stream diaper? I'm sure there are people out there who actually employ such methods of bladder suppression. There we went a pint. There went a pint is right, Sean. Sean, I have to say, mate, you're a fucking legend. Anytime I'm on Twitter, you're right. You're right there. A loyal henchman in the chat. Be interesting to see if Musk. I kind of I do suspect that I have been somewhat throttled on Twitter in recent years because I mean it's been like 10 years and I've just been I was up at like 23,000 there, and then it went to 21, and now I'm like, two Maloney's, one cup. Ugh. But it's yeah, it'd be interesting to see if like the algorithms change, and then I mean, like I'm constantly on there, and it's probably not doing my brand as a sole trader any good. But I think with time, people will be like, well, at least Maloney kept it fucking real. And that's the concept of Maloney's Digest. And I know a lot of what I say might be a bit fucking out there, but I never like I wouldn't. I mean, like if I'm wrong about something, I will go, yeah, I was fucking wrong about that. But I think a fair bit of what I've been saying over the past couple of years is on point. Might not be articulated in a way that's succinct, but I think Missy says Maloney equals the opposite of baloney. Fair play to you, Missy. Living up there in fucking the Hollywood Hills job. Missy says, I learned so many new vocabulary words from Maloney. Got that one right. He didn't take us, but literally heard every drop. Do you know what that was? Swing for the fences. That was what's known as a dad's wee or a thunder slash. Charles Moran, were you the one who attacked Pelosi's fella? A lot of dodgy details in that one. Did he even get attacked, or was it like some midterm stunt? You wouldn't know with them fuckers, man. You're like, I mean, he did fucking well out of those chips coming out of Taiwan. You wouldn't know. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stunts get pulled. The old October surprise. I mean, look, at the end of the day, whatever the fucking party, the majority of these politicians and senators are fucking scumbags, man. Hello from Swords, mate, says Jingoist, 1999. There's a good Nando's there in Swords. Drop in for the feed. Chris J. I've been watching Hardy Books on Tubi, and they've changed a lot of the music. Not the same, but still Schleimy old Viper. Well, I'd say the the music from the original cuts were changed because RTE, like BBC, being a taxpayer or tax funded channel, they have a blanket agreement with music licensing rights where they can use those rights. But if you then go to sell you sell your show to other channels or you sell it to DVD, those rights don't extend. So that's why we had to put in generic tunes for that, I think. Heard it all on Bebo. Bebo, baby, says no autographs. Chris J. They didn't play the final countdown when Buzz was upside down. What did they play instead? Like that was a song chosen by myself in the edit. The final countdown, where it gets stuck. You ignorant prick. It's funny, yesterday I was just laughing to myself while thinking about when in episode 3 of Hardy Book Series 1, Eddie's been kicked out of Noreen's gaff after dramatically losing the lookalike contest. And then it goes into Buzz and French Toast in the cottage. And hey, stay green, pony boy. Matty boy. AZ. I'll be over to you to wrestle some Komodo lads. But when he goes into the cottage with French Toast and Buzz, and he's like, lads, I'm glad you can stay here. And they're just sitting there close up to a portable television watching a German porno. It was like, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. But that's the kind of stuff that's happening. Charles Moran, good night, boss man. Cheers for all the laughs. You're very welcome, mate. Hey Neo, what's the story? Good to see you. A couple of heavy hitters in the chat tonight. Stay Green Pony Boy says several guys posted the final countdown in the 1987 Mr. Olympia. Several guys posted to the the final countdown, man. It was boys from Uplands Väsby outside Stockholm, apparently. Graham Russell. Jack Russell's snapping at the heels of a Rothwheeler. In my mind, in my soul, in my kukuru, the will to reach out and crush your enemies. Look at them. The jealousy is oozing out of them. Frenchy as a grass. Do you get me? Yeah? I always wear a suit, Danny. Subterfuge and misdirection. Two of my oldest friends. Sergio, fuck, what's it called? Dr. David knows this. Sensei Ronnie Caldwell. The will to wreak out, to wreak havoc and to crush your enemies. Graham Russell drove over the Mersey last night, La. Which side were you going on, mate? Were you going Birkenhead to Liverpool or Liverpool to Birkenhead? And which one did you take? The Kingsway or the Queensway? Mersey Tunnel. So ferry across the Mersey, mate. Missy Eddie and the Nymphomaniac is a jolly storyline I found in my delve into Hardy Buckness. She was fucking stacked, man. Stacked to the rafters. Sucky stack houses after you. The BMW 730, it's a workhorse. That's a lovely motor. Danny Dyer did well for himself, man. He started off in the likes of Human Traffic. I was in an Errol Pinter play, and a lot of my fans came along to watch the show. And they're all like cheering when I was saying bits, and I was like, oh no. But Danny Dyer, man, he's a solid actor, and he's an all-round entertainer. And I'd say he's great crack. He's one of those lads. He sowed his wild oats and was a mad fucker in his days, and he's atoned for his wildness, and he's become a treasured soap star in EastEnders. And you can see he's put on a lot of weight. He's like a newborn baby kitten, as French Toast O'Toole would say, and it looks like the catering has been very good to him. He's getting a proper regular wage. You know what I mean, like making six figures. I go out and eat whatever when I like, you know what I mean? Connor Wallace, what's up, big balls? Just fucking chilling, man. After doing a gig in fucking south of Sweden. Danny keeps it real, says Sean. Yeah, I mean, like, Danny Dyer's Britain's Deadliest Men and Real Football Factories. I mean, I love when he's up there in Glasgow and he's like, I'm here in the bridge at the Old Firm derby between Celtic and Rangers. I think my bum was flapping a bit. I'm very scared. It's all going to kick off. And it's just like some lad in the background going, it ain't Danny! There's another brilliant one where he goes to Blackpool and he's walking down the road and I think a Vauxhall Nova passes by. He's like, hey, Danny! And then later on he dresses up incognito to go on the job with this bouncer. And they just basically put a blonde wig on him and a pair of glasses and gave him a dodgy haircut and put a beanie hat on. And then he still got recognised. Someone was like, that's fucking Danny Dyer. Danny Dyer, he's a fucking wanker. I like the way the editor left that in. Stay Green Pony Boy, the South American episodes were crazy. Which episodes were that, mate? Oh, someone's given me a super chat. Thank you very much. Patrick Clarity. Fair fucks to you, Patrick, mate. Good to see you. You're a generous man. You're a fucking good skin. Snackbox O'Toole. What a name. Oi, I'm fucking shaking in it, bruv. What I really love about Danny Dyer, right? He was probably in his late 20s, early 30s at the time. So the inclination for him to go out on the cobbles of any given location that he ended up in was too alluring to turn down. So, his producers were probably like, oh, Danny, we've got a 7 o'clock start with some absolute nutters tomorrow. He's like, proper naughty, nutters, I love it. Ooh, do me a favour, get a round in, lovely. Get a bit of beak, lovely. And then the next day he's like having to do some SAS training course in a castle, wearing a gas mask and a boiler suit, and like just been thrown into the back of cars and driven around. He's like on the verge of puking up, or like he has to run up a flight of stairs that goes on for fucking ages. He went down to Brazil for an episode, if I recall correctly, got shot at while riding in the bus. Is that not Ross Kemp you're thinking about there? As in, hi, I'm Ross Kemp. I play Grant Mitchell in EastEnders. And then I was in that programme about the SAS, can't remember the name of it. Elite Hardmen or something. But I like the way Phil Mitchell, fair play to him, Steve McFadden, has just, he's got a job for life there with EastEnders, you know what I mean? Ian Beale, he's not been in it for a long time, but Bealo, Didn't he fight some Spetsnaz? Danny Dyer. I'm Danny Dyer. Today I'm going to fight an elite unit of quack operators from Russia. Special boys from the Spetsnaz. It might be get my football hooligan shows mixed up. Yeah, I was watching some. There was a documentary series I was watching about some lad who was wrongly imprisoned and he went down to South Africa. There was another good series that used to be on TV3. I think it was like a Channel 5 show called Banged Up Abroad. You know, it's like people who've been done for like trafficking drugs into Thailand or something like this. But there was one absolutely exciting reconstruction episode of an English guy who was in the United Nations, and I think it was in the Congo, and the compound, basically their job was to try and demilitarize or disarm the local militias, and they pissed off like the local kind of warlord chief, and he basically was saying like, you guys are dead tonight. So they were like all holed up in a UN compound, and they sent all their guys under the cover of darkness to storm the compound, and himself and a couple of other lads had to jump over the back wall and get away, and like the Congolese lads were trying to say to the Kenyan boys, hey look, we're all Africans here, we're not after you, we want to get the white guys. And then so I think there was like a bit of a firefight, and then the Kenyan boys gave them enough time to hop over the back wall, and then they were just like running through bush, and then he was saying like they got outside this village, and there was like some kids outside the bush, and they were like, oh, they're gonna blow our cover, and he was like thinking he might have to do the kids in, and it was probably one of the most exciting bits of television I'd seen for a long time. Myself and Pete Cass were watching that in me ma's kitchen. It was like banged up abroad. I really shouldn't be here. But that wasn't so much banged up. It was just like he was a UN guy caught up in a shitstorm. Stay Green Pony Boy says it might be getting my football. So I've already read that one. Tom Sweeney whacked out of it in Prague. How's Prague, man? I've never been there, but I heard beer is cheaper than water. It's the kind of place where you go in super shape and come back swelled like an old schlob worm, ready to be put on a hook and thrown into a lake full of trout. That'd be the vibe I'd get there, hey. I checked, and it's definitely Danny Dyer. It was called Football Hooligans International. Well, fair play to you there, Stay Green Pony Boy. I'll have to check that out. But one of my all-time favourite bits of BBC television was BBC Three's I'm Danny Dyer, and I believe in UFOs. And I mean, I speak about this probably every fucking stream, man. But it's what I should do is do a stream where I basically watch Danny Dyer's I Believe in UFOs and just weigh in with my commentary. I mean, there's so much golden lore in it, like especially that bit where he goes into the pub to investigate co-op circles, and he goes, "So what's going on? Is someone out there running around with boards strapped to their feet, or is it that mob up there?" But I need to watch some. I remember Mark Kermode, who's a film critic for the BBC, and he really had a penchant for dissing Danny Dyer's work, and there was a film that he did called Run for Your Wife, which was a West End stage play that they turned into a low budget movie made by Home Run Productions, and he was like, I mean, Danny Dyer. I mean, this film is so bad, I can't even give it a 1-star review. It's awful. Sarah Harding, God rest her, of Girls Aloud was in it, and it was basically a story about a cab driver around London who had 2 wives and led a double life, and he had to deal with like them finding out about each other. But it was off the charts, and just like, how the fuck did this happen? How did he accept that for a job? And I think it made about £28 at the box office. Not ideal. unfortunately for Danny. But you know, he's been in some good films. He's been in some shit ones. The Business, great film. I don't think I've seen Football Factory. And it's funny that I've dedicated so much time on the stream talking about the life and times of Danny Dyer. But I met him briefly in Ibiza when we were filming the Hardy books, and he was surprisingly tall. He was about the same height as myself, and we walked up and there was some fat lad with a Miami Dolphins football shirt on, and a sweaty headband and a shaved head going, "Ogie yogi yogi, oi oi oi!" And it was in Eden. My brother-in-law Mike, who was directing the show, he used to live out in Ibiza, so he had loads of contacts. So we were invited to all these sweet gaffs in San Antonio. I wouldn't mind going back to Ibiza. I remember at the time when I was 27, I was like, I'm too old for this, man. The dream is gone. And then, like, literally 5 hours into it, I was like, this is brilliant fun. And I would like to go back there again at some time. Thomas Sweeney went on an Erasmus here, visiting a few Irish who stayed here after Vice City. Oh, I believe it would be. J1BB, start a crowdfund for a Danny Dyer Sasquatch Hunter series. I'm Danny Dyer, and I believe in Sasquatch. He's out there somewhere. Big fucking size 15-footed slag in the wilderness. If I ever get him, I'll stripe his canister. But if he's alright, I'll sit down and smoke the peace pipe with him. Because I'm a geezer. What do you think of this informal style of me being horizontal? I quite like it, man. I feel like my alpha waves in my brain activity are engaged. And I think maybe I might do a couple of live streams from the bed in future. Be like, sound. Have you had a good night? Good night, God bless. But it could be quite a nice touch just to do live streams from the bed. Madonna did it in the 90s, in bed with Madonna. And yeah, seemed to do well. Madonna's really kind of one of those people where you're like, just give it up, man. Do you know what I mean? Just age gracefully at this stage. Quite chill vibe, says Shawneen. I mean, Shawneen, how's life up in fucking Chicago going? How's Beetlejuice? How long has how long has Beetlejuice got in the office? And much more of a kind of incredulous question is, how the hell did Mayor Lori Lightfoot of Chicago win an election, man? Google Madonna snorting poppers. You know, I'm sure it's up there, because I bet she's like, I'm edgy. It's like back to the old style of things. Next thing you should be doing fucking loots and whippets. Stay green pony boy. Makes me want to snuggle up. Haha. Get cozy, but I mean, it's like you're about 9 hours ahead there. So it'll be 9 o'clock in the evening. So if you're an early bird, Missy, hop into the fucking carty. Stay green pony boy. Sassy the Sasquatch. Find it on YouTube and you'll be happy. Retire on top like Base Hunter. Yeah, what the fuck happened to Base Hunter, man? Isn't he like he's a Swedish? Wasn't he Swedish? And yeah, he just like he bowed out, man. He was, but didn't he have like Tourette's or something? But I think he was on like one of those Celebrity Big Brother UK ones years ago. But that was the word Base Hunter. I think he was around like 2004 to like 2007, and he probably was like, "Sound, I've made enough money to get myself a little homestead somewhere, get the infrastructure sorted out, and make some passive income for the rest of my life. That's the dream." Just like, so we got sunset over here, says Missy. Sean says 2 weeks until elections. Well, that's gonna be whoever's running up against her, it's gonna be like cakewalk. Did you see that Kanye got adiosed from Adidas? Wow. Of course, you know what I mean. It's like he was he went against the grain and he got punished for you know, it's basically any fucking brand that going to distance yourself from spicy opinions. Madonna was just doing that. It's on TikTok. Right, I have to see this. What we looking for battery? I've got 16% battery left. I'm I'm hoping Liz has got his phone somewhere. Should we go out and look at Liz again? Patrick Clark, Danny Dyer used to tweet at Frankie Boyle all the time saying that he wanted to fight him. Frankie Boyle responded with, "You keep fighting evolution and I'll fight the winner." Didn't didn't Frankie Boyle get a hold of Danny Dyer's number and he was ringing go? He go, "Oh, you fucking sweaty jot, you fucking sweaty sock. What you saying? What you saying? Hey there, Danny man. Hey, fucking fight you any time, you fucking prick." I heard that prank he did, but I don't know, man. Like Danny Dyer's a bit like Marmite. Some people love him, some people hate him, but I think he's done so much out of character that you can relate to him because he's the real deal. If you know what I mean. And I've said it before that he's both unintentionally and intentionally funny, and there's definitely something endearing about him. You know, like the time we were talking to Sir Patrick Moore, the famous astronomer, and he was like, "Sir Patrick Moore, you're a very wise man, but what about aliens and that?" He's like, "Aliens, of course. It's preposterous to think that there isn't extraterrestrial life out there." Wow, you mean you have to blow my mind? You know, my mind's it's blown from the fucking hell. And I love it. I mean, I probably said this last week, and I probably said it loads of times, but the fact that he's got a coffee, a glass of red wine, and water, and he's hungover to bits, and he's sitting in Sir Patrick Moore's house talking about aliens. I mean, and then the soundtrack to that documentary, it's all like hard-fi and Kasabian and all these like trendy FHM style songs of the time. But please watch it, man. Let's see, we got a couple of messages. From this angle, we get a great view of Maloney's sharp canines. These are the beast teeth. I had a sharp, all right. Beast teeth Maloney's after you. There's a dozen people running against Beetlejuice. It'd be a pity if they split the vote so much she wins. That'll probably be a case of it. Man keeps the nostril hairs tidy. Yeah, I have to. You gotta keep them under lock and key, because it will look like I've just cultivated fucking wheatgrass out of them. I mean that's one of the shit things about getting older as a man. Like the hairline starts receding, but yet you start growing random hairs in places you don't need. It's like, why? Why would you do this to me? But that's just getting older, I suppose, man. You know, Viper Higgins. Yeah. But has anyone seen Owen Colgan's? I mean, we're back to that again, but I love the way himself and Dana White got into a fucking spat over a VR goggle workout. And it's like, this workout's fucking brilliant. I mean, they'll kick your fucking ass. So I decided to weigh into the comments on Instagram by saying, man, I'd totally beat that headset in a fight. I just smash it off the ground and then apply pressure to whatever's left. So I'm waiting to see if he gets that, but it's good stuff. J1BB, would you not be surprised to Danny Dyer is a vampire? Not sure why, but yeah, to hear he's a vampire. Well, I mean, I've been living off the fat of the land, you know what I mean? I've been going around the cobbles in Shoreditch, just like sucking the veins of well-to-do hipster folk who are eating really rich diets of Vietnamese chicken wings and fucking poke bowls. You wouldn't know, man. You really wouldn't know. Thanks very much, Missy. Appreciate that. But okay, we're at 45 minutes. I thought to myself, I couldn't go without doing a live stream on the Friday, man. It's something that I do want to stick to, and this has been a more of a chilled out thing. And if you've got any questions that you'd like to hear my opinions on in the previous week's roundup, because I can't really think of anything off the top of my head of big news that is, but other than like Musk going to Twitter, and like I said earlier on about those like DNC operatives like that Joe woman that I just had to fucking mute her because she was really annoying. Um, and it's just like, basically, Michael Murphy, I was indeed. What gig was I at? I was just playing down in a place called Kalmar in south of Sweden. Okay, I mean, look, I'm neither a fan. I mean, like, I don't even live in your country for the American audience, but basically, you have the Republicans and the Democrats, which is a fucking binary choice. Like, it's ridiculous that that's all you've got. Two parties which are basically as old as the fucking hills. Um, and basically, one party continues on the continuation of government and disastrous foreign policies. There's a guy lately I've been following called Jeffrey Sachs, who I think he worked in Russia and basically trying to rebuild countries that were recovering from post Soviet, the post Soviet era, and I think he tried to set up some sort of peaceful transition in some sort of country that was basically blocked by these like neoconservative think tanks. And yeah, he basically came out and he's been quite honest, and he was at some sort of debate there in Athens, and a moderator who was, I think he was, can't remember who it was. It was on watching the Jimmy Dore show. They were saying like he was basically some sort of NATO stooge, and he was like, when your man Jeffrey Sachs started talking sense, like he was like, "I'm your moderator," and he just like shut him down. Um, but I think he was on Democracy Now, and he was talking about like this whole war that's going on with Russia has been in the pipeline for nearly 30 years for the project of a new American century, and like these neocon think tanks that want a unipolar world. I mean, the thing is about it's very unfortunate. Like I met an American guy during the week, and I said to him, like I was talking to him, and he was like, "Man, you know more about America than I do," and I said to him, "You know what? Like, the States for me is the place I always wanted to emigrate to, chase the American dream and whatnot, and things turned out differently. But like, since all these wars that have been happening over the last 20 years, they basically bankrupt a prosperous nation, and they're just running it into the ground. And as a person who kind of grew up looking at it, like the States has always had problems, but it's doing well there for a while. And the people that I've met living in the States or meeting, outside of the States, the American people are by and large a great bunch of lads. And it's painful to see a once great nation that was kind of like obviously aside from their foreign policy and whatnot, and it is a pay for play nation of oligarchs and dodgy bastards. But it's sad to see that that kind of beacon of unity as a nation is being completely undermined and cut down, and well, it's the same everywhere really. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully people just kind of wake up and start realizing that we have more in common than we do difference. Let me see. I'll go over some of your messages now. Missy asks, "Do I comb my beard with a tiny comb? I'm an American, but not bragging. Not really. The beard has become a bit unkempt of late." Patrick Clark, Commode versus Dyer. I'm back in Commode, to be honest. Danny Dyer is all skinny jeans and no twazzes. He did threaten to. I remember seeing the fucking hilarious interview with Danny Dyer about 10 years ago. He goes, "Mark Kermode, more like Mark Kermit. Turn it in, son. Respect your own, or I'll strap your canister." And then he acknowledged it on his on one of his interviews, like, "Well, he told me he was going to strike my canister, whatever that means, but it sure sounded Sure sounded a bit mean or something. Paraphrasing. Be wary of anyone who uses the phrase "the great state of Texas." Yeah, probably some warmongering titwank. Missy, yep, you should come here and help the Americans be less clueless. Also, go for beers. That'd be great, man. A nice little road trip across the states would be pretty sweet. Just I'd like to start gigging over there. It'd be nice because I really do think that I get on well over in America. Like I lived there before, and most people get what I'm about there. Whereas like here in Sweden, it's kind of like there's that's why I don't do comedy over here because it's like fucking pulling teeth. I'm like, oh, fuck that shit. If I do comedy in Ireland, people get it. If I do comedy in England, New Zealand, they will understand where I'm from and what I'm about. Piss Milk 2001, best band I've seen. Wall Night Man. How was the show, lad? That was good, man. It was good, but like again, not the liveliest bunch. It was like I was pulling every fucking trick out of the bag, and I was like, tomorrow I'm just gonna go in and not give a fuck, just play tunes, and I was like a rabbit in the headlights when I turned up. Patrick Clark, can you please rank your favorite Christmas chocolates? Celebrations, Roses, Quality Street, and Heroes. In that particular order, Patrick, it's a very interesting one. I would go for the celebrations first, and the first to be tackled would be the Maltesers. And then when all the Maltesers are gone, I'd probably go for the Galaxy Caramel, and then the Mini Snickers, and then last would probably be the Mars. Quality Street and Roses aren't the same quality as they used to be back in the 80s when I was a kid. Like anytime you get your hands on one of those glass jars of roses, then they started mass producing them because they were always you could just go to Tesco or something and buy them real cheap. But what they did is they started putting soy instead of milk, and I think they started using like powdered milk, and the quality wasn't as good. Um, and then Quality Street, Quality Street or Heroes. I'd probably go for Heroes and Quality Street, to be honest. I hope that has cleared that up for you. And if you really fancy someone to fucking buy you a box of Thorntons. I just finished a gig myself in Belfast. Maloney's Digest. This is my post gig chill sesh too. Oh, aye. Good lad. Fair play to you. What were you playing and whereabouts were you? The Limelight or the Foundry or one of those places? Tell me more, oh, aye. Missy, start working on your set for a 10-minute stand up. Oh, man, I've plenty of that. I just need to go over my notes and brush off the old material or make some new material. Sweden just seems like a living version of Waiting for Godot. Sweden is well, let's say Stockholm is a very busy, stressed out city, and I don't know why it has to be that way. It's kind of like it imagines itself as a miniature New York, and that's the one thing I noticed when I came down here today, that it's a bit the pace of life is a bit more relaxed here, and Stockholm is really the only part of Sweden that I've known inside out in Sweden. I've never been out in Gothenburg, for example. Never been to Malmö. Have never been to Kiruna or Östersund or Luleå, Umeå, Piteå, Borlänge, Jönköping, Nyköping, Linköping, Halmstad. I've not been to any of these places, but Sweden is it's a very large country, and I guess if you don't really know anyone there, you don't really have any business going there. Like I was only ever in Uppsala for the first time, which is literally a 45-minute train journey away, and I was there for the first time 2 years ago. That's a nice little town. So it's nice to be able to discover new parts of Sweden. Like this is another place checked off the list, which is a nice touch. Mini Snickers, put them in the freezer. Yeah, that's a tasty touch. The after party, 91 Vanced. What happened to your blonde girlfriend? Oh, we're still together. She was still going strong. Fair play to her. We live together now in the lair. So it's pretty sweet, pretty sweet. But we're coming up now on we're nearly at the hour, and I've got about 9% battery left. Let me just double check. 10%. So it'd be nice to try and watch some shite before going to bed. I haven't had the time the last few days to watch up on the. Have you dropped the hand yet? Oh ho 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 ho. I have indeed, plenty of times. The hand was fucking dropped. The hand that rocked the cradle won the race. That's a kind of a bastardization of Jim Morrison's American Prayer. I recommend anyone who hasn't listened to Jim Morrison's American Prayer with the Doors that was written posthumously after he died. That was the sound of my late teens, early 20s when myself and Turdoff and the boys, we'd get fucking blazed and listen to the Ghost song. For some reason, the Ghost song on American Prayer featured like 3 times. But it was like da 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 da. Indian, Indian, what did you die for? Indian says nothing at all. Dude, it's real, some really funky, trippy stuff on it. And if you're into taking a couple of toots of the Babylonian jig jag and just having a bit of a chill session, then I do recommend you listen to Dawn's Highway Bleeding. Yeah, Missy, you know it well. That'd be out your neck of the woods. Bismilk001 says, listen to Ariel Pinklad. Oh, thanks for the recommendation. I'll give that a listen. But that American Prayer, it starts off with a bit of audio in the beginning. It's like, me and my mother and father, grandmother and grandfather were driving through the desert at dawn. And this truck full of Indians either hit another car. I don't know what happened, but there were dead Indians lying across Dawn's highway bleeding. I must have been about 4, and I feel like some of the souls of those dead Indians were just running around and freaking out. Must have leapt into my soul. And it just goes, and it breaks into the ghost song. And then it's like, it's such funky fucking 70s stuff. And I think Robbie Krieger, what is this hippie bollocksology? But Robbie Krieger, the guitarist from The Doors, is such an underrated guitarist. Like, they were like, I mean, when I think my older sisters were listening to The Doors when I was about 9. And like, it's the same when my sister Trisha was listening to Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction when I was 6. And I remember, like, as a 6-year-old going, this is some good stuff. Like, it's funny because my son really, like, he's 5, but some of the tunes that he likes, if I put on Limp Bizkit, where it's like, he loves that song, My Generation, where it's like, was it, do you know what it was? It goes, do you think you can fly? Limp Bizkit style. John Lotto, take him to the Matthews Bridge. And yeah, he's a super fun age. He's great fun. Like they're very funny kids. This morning, we had to get up extra early so they could do the makeup for their Halloween parties in school today. And he went as a vampire. My daughter went as, a kind of a Nightmare Before Christmas Stitch smile, but she did the makeup on the pair of them and did a really good job. And yeah, I mean, I have a great laugh with the kids, man. It's like you germinate your own friends who are great fun. He's rocking out to Nuki, says Shawnee, the man Sean. So let's see. Stay Green Pony Boy. The old band used to cover Peace Frog, and I sang the above line front of Native Americans probably 80 times. Man, I mean, they would have been right behind it, I'd say. But like, if you're playing Peace Frog, Ding 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 but ding ding but diddly ding 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 but ding ding but diddly 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 and that solo, man, great stuff. Nah, yeah, it does sound good. Owen Gardner, man, get on American Prayer by The Doors and Jim Morrison. American Prayer. It's fucking. I often have a little listen to it, and it takes me back to the days of interrailing. And I remember I met these two lads from Ecuador called Braulio and Miguel. I met them in Barcelona. No, I met them in Paris. We travelled to Barcelona. We'd had a week in Barcelona, and I got terribly sunburned like I did in Cancun. It was like either that time or Cancun was probably the worst sunburn I've ever got in my life. But like, we just smoked bifters, listened to The Doors and the old Pink Floyd and Thin Lizzy. Thin Lizzy's another like, and we were listening to myself and Liz today. We're driving down on the road trip, and he's got this bootleg Rory Gallagher in the concert house in Stockholm from 1979. Fucking hell, man! Like that, like the fact that he came from Ireland, and he was like, in my opinion, one of the best guitarists of all time. If you can get a hold of that album live in the concert house in Stockholm '79, it's a bootleg edition. It's just phenomenal. Blood in the streets, it's up to my ankles. Haha, germinate your own friends. I love this. Yeah, but that's how it is, man. It's I think popular culture and modern day life. First of all, having children is now become a very expensive thing, and the pressure of having kids in this world, like man, the amount of shit here in Sweden that is online, and for a man of old school ADHD, thinking like myself, it's intolerably dull, and it's just so reductionary to like anytime you have to phone someone. I had to phone my bank today, and I was put on hold for 20 minutes. And like Sweden is just the home of automated phone machine, like answering machines that just go on forever, and they don't even play like music to keep you engaged. It's just like, hold the line, we'll be with you shortly, and it rings, and it's like, hold the line. Like you have to listen to this shit. Like the amount of these like governmental agencies that you're forced to call, and they just keep you on hold for fucking hours, and then you can't really like put the phone down because you're always on edge, going, "Oh, they're gonna answer." But that's Sweden in a nutshell, man. It's become very programmable, or very kind of artificial. Um, Erwan Gardner, I'll give it a lash. Hey, we're not made for the sun in this part of the world. No, fucking not, man. But apparently, anyone with fair skin, like redheads like myself, we can produce vitamin D in the winter. But I was having a conversation with a Swedish lad who also gets roasted in the sun. And I said, well, basically, you have the producing more vitamin D in the winter versus getting absolutely fucking scorched in the summer. I'd rather have more melanin and be able to like fucking not be roasted alive, than something that I could just take in a supplement in a bottle. Missy, I don't know very much about Fred Durst. My ex-husband cuts his videos. Wow, fair enough. He must be making a few quid. Stay green, pony boy. We did Whiskey in the Jar and Rosalie too. Fucking Rosalie, Rosalie. Great old tune. Yeah, the Limping Biscuits, as Owen Gardner. I don't know how you live there. I can't. I can barely tolerate IKEA for half an hour, says Missy. Well, funny enough, in IKEA, it's a place where Swedish families usually end up having huge arguments before they've reached the checkout because it's so massive, and you've got to fight. Especially the warehouse at the end is like kind of the final boss where you just got to pull all these things off shelves and find all the accessories. So it's but yeah, the meatballs. I'd recommend you eat meatballs before you go in, and then it should give you some sustenance. But it's a fool's errand to miss out on that before going in. Owen Gardner says IKEA reminds me of Ballymun, and Ballymun reminds me of IKEA. Funny enough, about 10 years ago, I went into IKEA in Ballymun and had this really weird feeling of walking through IKEA in Ballymun, but being reminded of loads of Swedish houses that I'd been in through the years before, and I was like, this is fucking strange, man. And then I bought a load of stuff from IKEA, put it in the cottage I was living in, and then it felt like, wow, this is kind of like a hybrid between old Irish style and Swedish style. But IKEA, to be fair, it's a place where you can get nice furnishings for your house for fairly cheap, and it looks pretty classy. Haha, I will enjoy your comedy set. Premonition. So I had an idea for a really funny. It sounds like you're on the bloody wacky backy. No, I'm not at all. Actually, not at all. Graham Russell, Aviator. Aviator's playing in Charlestown next week. Funny enough, Graham Russell. Um, the lads from Aviator, we met them in Charlestown one night, I think, and they were like, "Oh, thanks for giving us the shout out, man." I was like, "No bother, horse." Um, so I was talking to my friend Yosef the other day, and we came up with this fucking brilliant idea for a band called Midlife Crisis, and the name of the album is going to be called Pension Plan, and some of the names on the songs are going to be like, "We don't have time for these things," "Been there, done that, twice," "Pissed myself a bit," um, what else? "Don't get too excited," "Not tonight," "Reinvention of acceptance," 80s Phil Collins. So there's definitely a lot of fun to be had with that. So I wouldn't mind. I met a guy today who's in a band called Dead Lord, which you should check out. It's 70s rock, but they're doing well. They're touring and they played some big shows around the continent. But they're cool guys as well. So Dead Lord. So I met Hakeem, the lead singer and the guitarist, and I met him on the train today, and it was like, that sounds good, man. Swing by the shop and we'll talk about it. But it'd be nice just to fucking get a band like that going. Adult diapers, cheer me on, says Shawnee. You could have a song called Stairlift to Heaven. Donica, that's a fucking brilliant one, mate. Oh my god, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Holy God. Well, listen, on that note, I'll leave you on a high, and thanks very much for sticking around. Always a pleasure to hang out with you all. Um, a couple of years ago, if I thought that I would be sitting just me talking to a screen, I was like, oh man, can't do that. It's too intense. But it's actually something that I really enjoy at the end of a week. Just a nice little recap, and you're all fucking very sound people, and I'm glad we have this little community. It's like a little kind of little club on a Friday night. Speaking, says Owen Gardner. But no, it's good. I always enjoy it, and it's nice to have the same faces, same time, same place. But anyway, look, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy Halloween to you, or Halloween as I call it, or I put in an unnecessary J. But it's been nice hanging out with you all. I hope you've enjoyed this post gig moment tonight. Shawnee, thank you very much, man. Can't be giving money to PayPal, man. Yeah, fuck PayPal. They're a bunch of fucking wrong'uns. Dane Bowers, Pharaoh Schlong on him, says says Graham Russell. Halla Joey, Halla 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 Jesus. Oh my god, it says PayPal Illuminati lads. Yeah, they fucking someone out. I mean, I'll probably have to sort out some other payment processor just to not give the bastards the business. Patrick Lelty, thank you very much for your super chat earlier on as well, mate. Fair play. Good luck, dude. Have a spooky weekend. And to you too. And for everyone else, it's too spooky, too spooky. It's much too spooky for me. Happy Halloween. Send your magic beans in the post. I'll have to set up a little post box so people could send me gifts that I can open up on the live stream. That'll be a bit of crack. Send me some like mad foods and drinks from yonder. But you have to be cute sending other stuff, because the boys will seizure. Season's greetings, job. Anyway, good luck and good bless for now. Chat to you next week or midweek. We'll see how